Hello, this is Dave, and welcome to Equities Story. I'm with the Wolfie, and Wolfie, I'm really sorry. I didn't realize it's actually a holiday up in Queensland now. Why are you having a holiday and we're not? Is that because you
Because we're a better state. I mean, it's simple as that.
but,
Obviously, they look after us much better, give us more days off.
but what do
I
you
don't even know what the holiday is. No, I know. It's Liquor Day, which is like the show day, right? Like, I'm sure Sydney's probably got something similar, but it's our show day.
What do you mean show days? Show what?
Yeah, it's like a I don't know, like a main show for Queensland where there's like displays and sorts of things at a showground, so to speak.
Oh, okay, all right. Any
It's
excuse?
the Queensland still countryside of things comes out because it's part of the culture and history, which I haven't been part of because I've only been here for like 6 years. But it's interesting. It's nice. I don't mind. Queensland's a very nice state.
All right. Any excuse not to work, eh?
So chop. I need to go and get some holiday into me.
All right. This is just a general share advice and not personal advice.
Yes.
And Wolfie, I'll tell you what, you must have been happy with the soccer. What an unbelievable semi-final.
Yeah, actually, Dave, look, was the best soccer match I've ever watched. And by the way, they're playing on Wednesday, so it's going to probably be even bigger because we're playing England.
Well,
that was the most emotional night I think I've gone through watching soccer. And the thing is, I've been watching a lot of soccer because obviously you and me are soccer mad guys. So yeah, it's just that penalty shootout. I just couldn't take it anymore. I was shouting it in TV, throwing stuff around. Oh my God!
Well, you'll be glad to hear I'm supporting Australia, right? I'm 100% behind Australia because I just see all my kids jumping up, so happy. I just this is the first time I think since the Olympics, right, where the countries seem to have really got behind the sport.
Yeah, but that was against the French. I wonder what you're going to be like on Wednesday. That's the thing.
No.
Army stuff, aren't you?
No. I'm supporting Australia. I'm gonna because I think it would be just fantastic. I mean, England have just won the European Cup. They've had enough success. I think it'd be fantastic for Australia if the girls pull us through.
Don't lie. I think you're scared you're going to get bashed up by your kids if you don't.
Well, no, that it was so sweet watching my little 8-year-old. He was praying by the TV, praying on the penalties, and there's no way, mate.
I think everyone was praying at the TV.
Yeah, he was literally on his knees praying. So no, we've got to. I think we have to win the World Cup. So I'm totally backing Australia, mate. So we're on the same side on this one. Wolfie,
yes.
Let's get going because there are some
stories announcements today. Yeah, absolutely. So let's go through some of these announcements. Some stock we've got that we're very happy with their announcements. So let's go through them. JBH, we don't have it, but it's a decent dividend story, right? The results are obviously not brilliant, but it's much better than the probably expectations were. So from that point of view, that's why it's up. That's why the shorters are still suffering, and I don't even know why they're doing it because they are masochistic in a way, right? But at the end of the day, it's a good, solid business. And if you're owning as a dividend play, you don't want to own it at the moment as anything but a dividend play. You're still in this.
Ansels. I had a table announcement, obviously, about a month ago.
And nothing's changed. We don't want to touch it. Do not touch this at the moment. No.
All right. So it's not. Now let's have a look at car sales because they're up nearly 5% today. That is absolutely superb price action. It's a good story. I had a beautiful buy signal a few weeks ago as well. So people who bought that buy signal will be doing quite nicely.
Most important, Dave, I backed myself and said 2 weeks ago with Claude on Wednesday, what's the company that's going to come up with a great result and going to go up? Bang! Car sales. Thank you very much.
What was Claude's? What was Claude's one?
C&W.
Oh, all right. Say no more.
No, it's okay. Have a look at C&W's chart. It's actually okay. Let's have a look. I hope I'm right. I think it's okay. Yeah, there you go.
Sideways. Look, is that equity? I think that's Equity Story 1, a Rich Life 0, isn't it?
Well, we've got another one. The following week, we went with I went with IPG, and I think Claude went with DTL.
Okay, so IPG.
We'll see what the next one is.
Oh, I think you might have lost that. IPG, he went for.
Oh, no, hang on. They haven't reported yet. You remember? It's about the report.
Okay.
It's about the report. So
okay, well he's winning that game so far. So we will
yeah,
see.
but it's about the report. It's about whether they can beat expectations in the report and go higher. That's the key here. So far so good. With car sales, one winner out of one. Let's have a look at the IPG, and we're going to have another one this week as well. Because apparently he's sick with COVID again, Dave. So maybe I will do it on my own.
Listen, our thoughts and prayers are with him because he's actually sick with COVID with his kids, and the wife's about to deliver a baby in 2 days. So
exactly. Did you send him some garlic?
Yeah, that's what he needs. But I won't go there, Wolf.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'll say things that have.
That's right. Let's keep going. So look, car sales did very, very well, up 5% today. It's time. Look, at 32 times, it's expensive. I got to say, but overall, I got to like that really report. Very strong. The best thing about it, Dave, is margins are growing, and they're actually talking about margins growing next financial year as well. We're onto a winner here, Dave. You want to buy this when it comes back to the trend lines. Maybe that $26 is a bit of resistance right there, so I'd maybe wait for a bit of a pullback. But you really want to be on this horse. We've been on this since $20, and we haven't sold yet. So yeah, good story.
So Wolf, can I just ask you a question? How you invest in a story like this? Because you've been investing in it for here. Yep. You've got quite a bit of money in it. You must hurry up.
Let me tell you quickly. So
yeah.
The first time we bought this was when it broke out over the blue line. Remember it was back after the tech sell-off, right? You had a bit of a wobble up and down, and then we got in on that breakout above the blue line, and then they had that big capital raising, right? It went back to about $20. We still held because it was holding the trend line, and we bought some more right on the trend line. So that's how we've been actually investing. We've been buying on the trend line. So I bought some again. I've got about 3 loads of it on the trend lines, and I'm very happy at the moment. So I'm very patient with this story. So I'm not going to chase this. It's not. I don't think it's a story you need to chase because it will come back to the trend lines. But you need to own this, I think, for the future. This is a really good story.
Yeah, definitely. So it's and Wolfie, so you're not looking at taking any profits on this?
No, this is a long-term. Look, I'm happy to trade this, no problems, right? But I don't have any trading stock at the moment of this. Actually, I've just been re-accumulating for the long term because I can see the merits, because I went through the actual reporting of it for the last 12, 24 months. And I can see that there's really good potential here for the next 5 years. I mean, I love to buy stocks when I can see it for a number of years growth-wise. And I see that the company is actually looking at every angle. So in other words, top line, the bottom line, how it spends its money, where it invests. I'm liking all of it. So for me, and plus it's got a good environment. We've seen the car sales going through the roof in July. So for me, this is a decent story to own at the moment.
And can I just say, I mean, we had this as a trade on the 28th of the 4th. Never broke trend, and it's been a nice little profit. So we had a buy under 24, a stop loss at 21.90 that didn't hit, and
you got a percent even there, right there. Right?
We hit the target price today at 25.90. So very nice.
Yeah, and I think eventually it's going to go higher. This is a very, very good result. Like I said, this is probably one of the best ones I've seen in the tech space. Better than realestate.com.au so far. We still got Seek to go. We still got Zero to go. We still got Ultium to go. But this is the best one I've seen so far.
Well, you know what? It's interesting you say that, because you're saying, in one breath, you're saying, Dave, it's at 31 times quite expensive, yeah? And then you get something like realestate.com trading at 64. And there's a lot of similarities between these two. They're online.
Dominated segment, right? It's monopoly almost. Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of similarities actually between it. The only problem is that real estate's always been trading on 60 times. Castle's always been trading on 30 times. Can it catch up to 60 times? I don't think so, because it's just historically it's never done it. It doesn't mean it cannot do it one day, but I think market's always gone, this is going to be a 30 time stock. That's it.
All right. Okay. So this is a really good story to buy any pullback.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wolf, AZJ put an announcement today. I mean, they've been sort of very frustrating stock actually. I know they do pay a pretty handsome dividend, but they not really happening, is it?
No, it isn't. And I think, look, the only reason you'd probably hold it is for the dividend, because the results are fairly lackluster, to be honest. If you look at the numbers, flat to down, right? And we've seen what's Queensland doing at the moment. They are stifling some of these mines in Queensland, the coal mines. They don't want any more coal mines. There's a bit of a shove and push between the Labor government and the Nationals, the countryside of there is a bit of a problem here. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm one of those stocks. I'm just not sure where it's going to go from here.
Right. Okay. GWA. Great looking chart, Wolf. But I'll just bring if you don't mind, the announcement over.
Yeah, go on, because it's actually interesting going up, right?
Okay. So net profit of 43.2 million, up 22.7%. Yeah.
Yep.
Now the dividend, I'm looking. It was paying a 6-7% dividend. They're holding their dividend.
Yep.
Which is interesting. So it's a pretty good dividend. The stock's got growth, right? Tell us more, because it's been in a downturn. It's sort of the chart's saying it's coming back. Is this a story that is coming back, or is it too soon for you?
It's a very, very good question. I've been thinking about this morning about GWA, how I feel about a story like this, and where do I put it category-wise for me as an investment, maybe, right? Is it a retail? Is it a building, construction and building side of things? Because it does a lot of renos, like, almost Bunnings type stuff. Maybe a little bit of REH in there as well, right? With RWs. It's an interesting one. I think it's on the up. Look, it's a quality business, I think, overall. I think the best thing to do is just look at the outlook, because I don't mind that you can see there's an improvement here, step change improvement from the previous year, right? So that's decent. So then I go, okay, let's go to the FY24 outlook, and I'm just going to go down to have a look at it for you, and to see where it actually stands. Because like I said, again, I'm just not sure, right, where I'd probably categorize it at. But it says we have a clear and disciplined execution path for FY24, customer first and profitable volume growth. So they are looking at the right things for me. I want them to be looking after the bottom line. So look, okay, let's just put it this way before I get myself into tizzle.
Yeah.
Let's take the fundamentals of it, and let's trade it as a decent story on the charts, right? So I think that's the best way to get, not a long term, but a good trading story.
All right, thanks. Listen, that's what I was hoping to get out of you, to be honest with you, Wolfie. It's always, because I mean, at the end of the day, we're sort of, I'm looking at the markets at the moment, I think it's all looking a little bit toppy. But stories that suddenly, this has been in a strong downtrend. This has started to a little bit of a swing above the water level. It's back above resistance, Wolf. It's absolutely looking really, really good. So,
and you know what? The other thing is, the very good thing going about it's actually not expensive at all. This is one of the value propositions out there, trading on about 13 times, right? So you've got a bit of protection here, and I think maybe that $2 could be, or maybe $1.89 could be a nice little stop, maybe, for a trader out there.
Okay. So we're going to put medium. The target length is going to be about sort of three months on this play. And I think we could target that, say.
Can I stretch it to 6 months? Let's go to the next half-year report, which will be in February, right? So let's give it a 6-month cycle, because it can be volatile. 3 months is for a story like this, maybe it's a bit short for me personally. So just give it a 6 months if you can, please, for me, Dave, and then give it a bit more, oomph.
All right, we're going to go for that target price of 240. We're just going to have a stop loss at about 1.84 on the weekly.
That's good. Yeah.
And obviously it's uploaded there, and it's going to be a buy. And again, what I like about this, Wolf, if we are going to get turbulent times, in some ways renovation is not a bad place to be, but also it's, it's like you said, it's inexpensive with a good dividend.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you just treat it maybe just as even as a dividend play, right? And you could really do quite well out of both the upside to the trade and the dividends at the same time.
Well, precisely, and they've been very good for us actually. Those sort of value dividend plays, haven't they, over the last year and a half? Let's have a look at Bendigo Bank, because again, just sideways. Are you seeing anything in the report there that's maybe we could put Bank of Queensland and Bendigo together?
I wrote I wrote a little thing on the actual the weekly summary, right? For me, right? So weekly wrap, I wrote a little thing saying, looking at dividend plays, and you know what I chose? I chose CBA on its result. And I posed the question, is it better to go quality over dividend, right? And when you think about it, look at the chart here, right, versus the chart of CBA, WBC. I think I'm prepared to take a little bit of a lesser dividend, but go for a story like CBA, right, where you've got the number one by far bank, and it's going up. You know, it's trading on its almost all-time highs. Than something that's going backwards for the last 12 months. I mean, it just makes, to me, the argument of just chasing the dividend of, say, 10% versus 6% of CBA, that 4%, it's easily lost in this bloody BOQ or Bendigo, right? Give me bloody CBA every day of the week.
Okay, so I think that's really interesting because there are a lot of people out there will feel that looking at these dividend plays, and you're happy to sacrifice that 2 or 3%.
Yeah, absolutely. And give me CBA,
just for quality.
Yep.
Okay.
Because you can probably also get at least some growth out of CBA because everyone loves CBA. You know, you've got that number one bank, generally speaking, that will probably keep pushing up.
Wolfie, SMR, little cold play.
Yep.
You know,
I like the result.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. There's a really nice cash flow. Nice. The only problem, of course, with this is it's really so wedded to the coal price, right? So you just got to follow the coal price to see where it goes from here. But you know, they had a bit of a transformational acquisition last financial year, so all of that has been very, very good. Of course, the other thing they got to watch. There's probably two things. One, outside of its jurisdiction, and that is the weather, right? You just don't know what's going to happen this next year, but also the costs. They've got to have to look at that as well. But overall, I think this is a very good quality coke and coal story. So if you like, you know, maybe the coal space, but looking at the actual coke and coal, this is one of the better ones.
All right. At the moment, it's sort of, if you're in it, I'd hold it. I mean, if you're going to buy it, it needs to do a little bit more, unfortunately, yep. Wolfie, doesn't it?
Yeah, I agree. It will have its hopefully its time again of maybe buying it for another little trade. But for the moment, at least I like the results. So, you know, put it on your radar, have it on your radar.
VMoto, VMT.
What's this from? They didn't put anything out. VNT. I think you've got it wrong code.
Okay.
God, that looked like a bad chart.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
That didn't look very good. Wolfie, VNT, yes. Right?
Yeah. Big contract. Yep.
Yeah, good. And I mean, we did talk about this one to people get into it. So we've got a number of people in this. It's a good little dividend paying stock, and a good contract win like that. It just encourages everyone to hold it, I suppose.
12 times, 7% dividend yield, good chart. Coming back to the trend lines, you know, if you didn't get in on that nice green candle, you've got an opportunity right now.
All right, Wolf, I'm just going to put these together. We've got DYL, and we've got BOE as well, some uranium plays. BOE, maybe one of the best looking charts we had. Nice little buy signal. It's sort of gone through it. It's up 3% from the open.
Yep.
And DYL, far. Let's talk about BOE to begin with, because that is our preferred uranium pick. Far away.
Yeah, there was actually a very strong article on Livewire about BOE today, Dave, really talking it up. It is the premier. They're also talking about the uranium price, really getting excited that the supply demand, there'll be a deficit there, Dave. So they're expecting the uranium prices to shoot up. So that's why I suppose you've got this BOE doing well, and some of the other uranium stocks are following. But if you want probably the best in class, you would be going to BOE because they are almost there as a producer. and you want to be sticking to quality. Really, if you're trading a commodity that's not easy to trade, you want to be trading something that's tangible, and you can see it's going to affect the prices are probably going to affect it, right? In other words, they are producing, so hopefully they'll get some better contracts or higher sales because of the higher prices. Not someone that is just at the exploration state means bloody all, right? F all for what the price actually does at the moment.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see that uranium forecasts are to go higher with trading economics.
Yeah, so if you're looking for a sector to trade at the moment, I think uranium is the one.
Excellent, Wolf, and you can see both that DYL and BOE both actually looking pretty good. Wolf, just also mention SFX. So this is a story that years ago quite liked, but they're about to start making some money, hopefully, for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's been a long process. Whenever you want to build a mine, it always should be a long process because you've got to go through certain steps to get there, right? And they have been ticking box after box after box, but it's taken them, I think 3-4 years to get to where they are right now. They're almost at the cusp of commercial production, right? And it's one of the bigger mines for mineral sands. So definitely one to watch. I like it. I think it's got lots of merit, and we probably just don't want to touch it until we see that production. We want to see that cash flows to see what they are like. But if it starts trending, you probably want to make some money on this.
All right, yeah, it's not far off, Wolf. It just needs to do a little bit more. So
yeah.
definitely,
maybe next week, you never know, right? But it's getting there.
Definitely not one for the watch list. Wolf, I just want to talk about the hot stock. Often people say, well, why was this the hot stock? And there's sort of a few reasons for this, to be honest with you. There's a general sort of feeling around the world at the moment, things that are going to get a little bit tougher, right? There's there's talk, you can see India now have curbed their rice exports because they're worried about, obviously, no country in the world wants a hungry population. That's always a bit of a problem, and rice is often a big part of this. So
it's a staple. I mean, that's the thing. It's a staple for such a big populace out there, right? Globally. So you don't want the staple like wheat or rice to go through any turbulence, because first of all, you could have a lot of issues, like you said, right, with people starving or not kind of afford it, for example, if the prices spike up, because it is a staple for countries that, money is actually probably a problem. So yeah, look, I understand it. And I've seen some commentary recently, and I think you're probably going to mention upon it too, is that India is one of the biggest producers.
Well, I was actually shocked, Wolf. 35% of the world's rice comes from India. I would I would have said China or Vietnam, right? I would never have said India. And
didn't they say recently that they're going to put a stop to exports to the world? And this is the thing, right? Everyone's protectionist about their own populace, like you said. If the prices are getting out of hand in India, so the government decided, no, we're going to put curbs on this. We're going to save all our rice for our own population.
They're saying here,
rice, not all the rice, but specific rice for their own population. So look, this is a potential problem down the track. So I understand where Sunrise is SGGVL, whatever it is why it makes your hot stock. Makes sense.
And obviously Chinese exports are down. You've got issues in Thailand. They've been told to conserve water, avoid second rice crops. You've got issues in Vietnam. These are the recent prices of rice. So there's a lot to like it. I mean, trading economics, I gave the contrary view where we're sort of, saying, yes, there's issues, but they believe more volume or more production will come online. They're a little bit, but I think when you weigh it up, and this is what interested me. This is the story of the company from 2010. Now they're only listed here, but you can see, generally speaking, Wolf, they've got good people behind them. They've grown their business, they've grown their revenue over a period of time. And I think when you look on that, and then I think more importantly, looking at a story that's also got a really nice dividend of 7.25% and trading at a P of 8.36. So you're talking 13 times being cheap. Now, I think food stocks often trade at a fairly lower P, don't they? But I think the valuation is reasonable. But importantly, you know what, Wolf, I'm a technical analyst. And
but you know, I think I actually disagree a little bit with not you, but the actual trade economics with the outlook, because the problem I think they don't look upon is look at the weather events at the moment. You know, the fires everywhere. Hawaii is pretty much all burnt down, right? You've got Canada. You know, all this Europe was under huge fires. You can see this weather changing, right? Whether you're climate skeptic or not, there is weather changes going around, which is probably going to affect a lot of production around the globe somewhere along the line. So I think there's going to be shocks, right? So I'm much more really worried about the food supplies than maybe something I think, because they're thinking, oh, someone will come and fill the void. I don't think so. I don't think they will. This is the problem we've got. I don't think you can just turn the tap on all of a sudden. And I know rice can be, I think, harvested maybe, I think 3 times a year or something like that, off memory, if I'm ever correct. But, you know, if you don't have the right conditions, but there's a drought somewhere because rice needs a lot of water, you're going to struggle.
All right. So anyway, listen, it's on for a good trade, and hopefully we can get this to move higher. You know, some of the other ones on Einstein's Wolf that I think I spotted over the weekend, and NXT, we saw that breakout. You know, come on, give us that 14. We had buy signals on EMR. We had buy signals on BOE, which is doing well. We had a buy signal on C1X, which, you know, it's holding up reasonably well. And CTT, again, a sort of nice little buy signal on that stock, which was on Wolf's weekly wrap. One of your favorite picks for next week.
Buy for the week, yeah, absolutely.
All right. Then it's just interesting. I like to point out these were on side, but oil, so Woodside, that dividend play looking better, and I think on that way to at least that $40. 88, we saw that breakout last week, and it still looks like most could go on with it. BLD, you know, I was trying to choose between James Hardy and BLD. I went BLD just for the chart. I felt it looked a little bit better. RWC, I think looks very good and could go higher. CPV, it's been on Einstein's for a few weeks now, but again, I feel that's on the way at least to retest that 40 level. Aristocrat, again, hot stock a few weeks ago, doing the right thing. I think it still looks very good. West Farmers, which I know you liked, but why wouldn't you like it? I mean, that was a nice move last week, and hopefully it'll go on.
I had to buy it for the time. That's a good looking chart.
PSI, again, you know, good solid little insurer, and you know what, DSE, I wasn't going to put that on DSE, but I did have a little glance that you had put it on, and quite rightly, because the price action was pretty good. So I'm going with that as well. And
you remember the category I put it in, Dave? Let's plug that as well, shall we?
No, we won't. Yeah, scared. And
we'll leave it for everyone to have a read.
REA, I think they're changing that, Wolves, as we talk. REA looking really good, and moving up higher. And funny enough, even Nick Scally is still going on with it. So yeah, Wolf, there are certain areas of the market which are really starting to trend quite nicely. I think, you know, being a little bit of a down pair, our warnings has been, and I think you're in the same boat as me on this one. You know, we could be near certainly, whether it's a high for a year, but certainly a high for the next few months. And, you know, the market just might trend slightly downwards now and at least come back down to revisit trend lines. On that note, Wolfie.
I think we've got a lot today. It's good. Good to see ourselves almost at $26. And it's not a bad start to the week, especially after Friday's was a fairly negative day, I suppose, on Wall Street. So I'm expecting negative, and it is a negative start on AXJO, but some of our stories are going okay.
And I think, you know, 2 good dividend stocks, GWA and SGLLV, both good dividend stocks with a little bit of growth. Yeah, and I think
go on.
I think those are stories that people need to be happy with at the moment.
Yeah, I think GWA is probably a very good candidate for weekly wrap.
And of course we got a car a buy on weakness, and watch out for that SFX if it starts moving. On that note, Wolfie, thank you very much, champion. I'll speak to you later.
See, I'm going to have a holiday now.
No, you're not. I think you're working tonight, aren't you? You've got a fun thing.
Yep. Oh,
right.
It never ends. There is no holidays for me ever. Okay.
All right.
Cheers,
see you, Wolfie. See you, mate. Bye.